All right, my friends, let's get some solutions to this first stat homework. How many ums were recorded? If I remember correctly, it was 25. Hilarious. I wasn't aware of any of them, which was amazing. 25. There was one right there. In the pie chart video, yeah, 2018, 2019 pie charts. There's, anyway, there's somewhere down there, the new version. Here's the 20, oh my God. There's the 2021. Anyway, I'm not going to click through this. Whatever you put was fine. Some people put that they were blown away by the ICE detentions, 2018 to 2019. Some folks said they didn't see any differences, which I thought was actually kind of cool too. Regardless, I loved your answers. They were great. In the bar chart video, Americans consume 19 million barrels of crude oil each day, about 2.5 gallons per American per day. And what you had to do here essentially was change barrels into gallons, and then that's total gallons, and then divide by the population of the U.S. So if you got 19 million, actually, the first thing you need to do is figure out how many gallons in a barrel of oil. Looks like about 42. All right. So we got to take 42 gallons per barrel times 19 million barrels. So that's how many gallons of oil, 798 million, almost a billion barrels of oil. And then we got to take that and divide it by the population of the U.S. Here's the estimate I get from the Census Bureau, which is going to change, obviously, as soon as they finish the current census. But we'll use that one, 328.2 million. So we're going to take this number and divide it by that number. So you're going to divide it by 328.2 million. And you get about 2.4, which is really close to that 2.5 I told you about. Yeah, it's close, about 2.5 gallons per person per day. This also includes infants who don't actually use oil, so clearly it's just an average. Okay, that was fun. Some COVID data spreadsheet. Oh yeah, this is the one about the per capita testing. So let's actually go back and open that spreadsheet. All right, spreadsheet. Yep, COVID Math Day 12. Good stuff, good stuff. Let her open. There she is. Bring her over here so we can see it. Okay, so you got all the counties in Oregon, all whatever it is, 36 of them, I guess. So we're going to do total. Now, this was all dated when I made the spreadsheet, which was a couple weeks ago. Hopefully, there's been more tests since then. I'm going to add up all the tests. So Baker did 56 total, and then we go all the way down. I think I made a big deal about Multnomah because Multnomah had done 10,152 tests. 10,152 tests. But let's get back to that in a second. So that's what we did here. And I wanted you to comment on that. You did the best job of testing. And whatever you put here was fine, as long as you put something there. Unless somebody says that Multnomah probably did tests better than other counties, because I said assume they're all giving the same quality of test. That's not what I wanted to look at. So what I wanted you to focus on, though, in this one was if you go to the other tab, your totals will be carried over from the previous one. I also gave you the populations of the counties. So Baker has 16,000 people. Benton has 92,000 people. And then what I had you do was I had you take the number of tests per person. So you take the number of tests divided by how many people, and that is how many tests per person there are. Now, because the number of tests is so small and the number of people is so large by comparison, this ratio is very close to 0, which I think I commented on here. Let's take a look. You now have a per capita. Yep, tests have been equalized by the common variable of people. Look for the largest number in that list. Now, you may have had a hard time finding it. It's a little hard to see, but it's Klamath. And this is one of the reasons that tests per person is not often used, but tests per 10,000 people is. So if we take that and multiply it by 10,000, that gives us the same number, but equalized per 10,000 people. Let's make the rounding go down. So these numbers here are just as relative to each other as these numbers here, but I think Americans will have less of a problem with these numbers. And now Klamath jumps right out at you. 209. That's the highest number in the list. As a matter of fact, Multnomah is 125. It's high, but it's definitely not as high as Klamath. It's not as high as Jackson. It's not as high as Hood River. I think I told you to sort. This is, I think, how I got in trouble with the original data when I posted the, whoops, yeah, expand the selection. Oh, for goodness sake, just sort the data. There we go. So, yeah, Multnomah's down here. It's 5th from the top. Klamath is the most. Wasco's the next down. Jackson, then Hood River, and then Klamath. So Multnomah. Multnomah sits in 5th place. Which, just because it has the most number of tests, doesn't mean squat. As a matter of fact, the county that has the most per capita testing is only a fraction of the total number of tests, but it's also a fraction of the total number of people. So it all equalizes, or in this case, exceeds. All right. There's your conversions. Yep, we did that. I think we just talked about the misleadingness of tests per... Oh, no, excuse me. We didn't. I lied to you. We did not talk about why the tests per 10,000 people is misleading. And let's go back and look at the data. And actually, I'm going to unsort it again to look at it the way it was. So 35 tests per 10,000 people implies that the county actually has 10,000 people in it. Now, Baker County does, but a lot of the counties in Oregon don't. So it's kind of tricky to say tests per 10,000 people, for example, in Wheeler, when Wheeler only has about 1,300 people in it, right? I mean, it's gotten 8 tests per 1,366. Somehow that number magically now gets bigger. And that's because per 10,000 assumes a denominator, just like percent, that isn't always there. So you can't throw away your good number sense. You have to make sure you understand why a test per 10,000 can be slightly misleading. Where and when was crude oil first discovered? Man, you all came up with some really good answers. Nobody really knows for certain. Apparently the Chinese had it before the birth of Christ. The first time it was discovered in America was in Titusville, Pennsylvania, which is one of the reasons that you know about Quaker State oil. So anyway, as long as you had some good backup for that, that was fun. And this was one of my favorite. The bit about how much air is above zip code 97701. And basically, I set you loose with this one. One of you tried it and nailed it. Well done. It's a fun question. And if anybody really wants to see the math, I'd be happy to walk you through it. Okay, that'll do for now. We'll catch you soon.